when romance collides with reality and expectations quietly explode. This episode shifts from emotional chaos to something more subtle but just as intense, because beneath the romantic gestures and calm conversations lies a deeper conflict about effort, validation, and emotional maturity. And the true meaning of this storyline only reveals itself toward the end. So stay until the final moments where intentions and impact finally separate. The tension between Manon and Anthony becomes compelling. The second romance is used as a repair tool rather than a natural expression, because what Ace A intempla here is less about the date itself and more about whether gestures can compensate for emotional misunderstanding. From my Pariramiya, Anthony's carefully planned evening is not manipulative, but it does reveal a pattern where effort appears only after conflict, which can make affection feel conditional instead of consistent. Manon's reaction is particularly interesting because it is restrained rather than explosive, suggesting emotional fatigue rather than anger. And this subtle reaction often says more than dramatic confrontation. One of the top moments is when money quietly enters the conversation, because financial caution is framed as responsibility by one partner and as emotional withdrawal by the other, creating a gap that romance alone cannot bridge. The reaction from viewers is likely divided, since some will praise Anthony for trying, while others will question why clarity and reassurance did not come before the tension escalated. Psychologically, this dynamic highlights how people express care differently, with Anthony leaning toward action and surprise, while Manon seeks emotional alignment and predictability before she can fully receive those gestures. What makes this storyline resonate is that neither person is entirely wrong, yet both are slightly misaligned in timing, which turns good intentions into missed emotional opportunities. The impact of this segment lies in its realism, because many adults recognize the frustration of feeling appreciated only after expressing disappointment rather than feeling secure from the start. As the evening progresses and intimacy grows, the unresolved questions remain quietly present, reminding us that connection built on temporary harmony can still rest on fragile ground. By the end of this part, the episode subtly promises that the real challenge ahead will not be romance itself, but whether emotional understanding can keep pace with grand gestures. The emotional crossroads becomes unavoidable when Anthony begins explaining his internal pressure and lack of support, because what S.A. intemplat in that moment reframes the entire storyline from a romantic misunderstanding into a deeper reaction to emotional isolation and unmet reassurance. From my Pariramiya, this is where the dynamic truly shifts, since Anthony is not defending his actions as much as he is asking to be seen. And when that need is met with logic instead of empathy, the distance between them quietly widens. Manon's response, which stays calm but firm, reflects a psychological boundary rather than indifference, because she appears to understand his struggle while still refusing to absorb responsibility for emotions she did not cause. One of the top moments emotionally is the realization that both partners feel invalidated for opposite reasons, with Anthony believing his intentions are ignored and Manon feeling that her emotional needs are constantly postponed. The public perception of this exchange will likely spark strong reactions, as many viewers recognize the familiar tension between explaining pain and actually feeling understood. And this is where comments often become deeply personal. Behaviorally, this segment shows how unresolved insecurity can turn vulnerability into accusation, even when love is present, which explains why conversations escalate despite calm tones. The temporary intimacy that follows feels genuine yet fragile, because physical closeness briefly masks emotional misalignment without truly resolving it. What gives this storyline its impact is that it does not offer clear villains or heroes, only two adults struggling to synchronize emotional timing in a relationship that moves faster than their understanding of each other. As the scene closes, the lingering question is not whether they care, but whether care alone can sustain a partnership when communication styles repeatedly miss each other. If this analysis sparked a reaction or reminded you of a situation you have lived through, share your thoughts in the comments and support the vlog by liking and subscribing, because these conversations grow stronger when more perspectives are brought into the discussion.